Hello, my name is Bob Whitmore, and thank you so much for joining. You know, technology is changing fast, and the supply chain is adapting to new expectations, accelerated by the events of 2020. And finding qualified staff will continue to be one of our greatest challenges. I could go on about the balance between finding solutions for both operations and the difficulty in staffing. But it's for certain that we need to have a strategy for both. So you know that your business will change, and you may not be sure which technology you will choose. And it may not be clear when all of this will happen. If this is your situation, you're in good company. I see predictions about how quickly technology will be introduced and how many jobs will be impacted by automation or artificial intelligence or robots. But I can't help but wonder, given these predictions, can you explain how this will come together in your organization? You know, the old standard of systems, technology, and people development, that still holds true. But if you don't have a roadmap that describes what the future will look like, will the years that lie ahead feel like a journey or more like a leap?
What I'm going to talk about today is about making the investment in research and development in order to improve your knowledge base about innovation along three very important areas: education, planning, and readiness. If you are going to plan the journey, then you'll need a map that meets your business needs and provides options along the way. Before I get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started out as a driver and a warehouseman. Fortunately for me, I worked for a company that was forward-thinking and innovative. I was involved in the early growth years. And ultimately, I became a North American Director of Warehousing and Center of Excellence for a major food service distributor. All in all, I've spent nearly 39 years in the food service industry. I've seen a lot of things, and I've tried a lot of things. And what I've learned over time is to look far out ahead, stay involved in the details, and not only of how work gets done, but how work is organized within the systems, and always talk about the future. And for many years, I stayed on a pretty consistent track. Concerning the type of technology that I needed to know about, I considered that each new system was the next generation of the projects that had come before. Then I was asked to shift things dramatically. The request was to solve key business objectives, become more flexible with order cutoffs, faster cycle times, SKU proliferation, ergonomics, and solutions for employee retention. So the stakes went up. So believe me, I can relate to what lies ahead for many of you. I know what it feels like to shop around for solutions, and I understand the risks involved in trying a new approach. And I know that you need to have a plan, and you need to make informed decisions. And when you do make decisions, they need to work. Now, I won't be talking about project management from a disciplined project management standpoint. I will be talking about careful planning steps that focus on the quality of the decision process. Planning steps that will allow you to build a plan that includes strategy, solutions, and for targeted business needs. Now, a bit of a warning is it's a pretty simple list, and it may seem too simple, but that's the beauty of the list. You as a leader are what the organization sees above the waterline. All of the complex work that is done will be impacted by your vision, your communication, and the guidance that you provide. So the process is simple, but the work is hard. and the decisions are critical. The stakes are high and you'll have to live with your decisions for a long time. Principle number one is vision. The single most important thing for an organization to have is a clear vision of what lies ahead. An end state that clearly communicates to the team what the end state looks like. What pain points do you have, and which are the most pressing constraints and needs that we have right now? SKU offerings, flexibility, accuracy, throughput, cost reduction. What are the biggest risks in your organization? Is it labor availability, employee retention, safety? Also, what market forces are taking place? And what service profile questions are coming up? How will we go to market in the future? What will the lead time be? How flexible will shipping need to be? So in essence, looking out into the future, what capabilities do we want to have? This is not a time to rule things out, and it is a great time to establish bold objectives and to challenge the status quo. You're going to challenge solution providers and let them ruminate on the possibilities. The goal is to make sure that your wishes are caught on paper so that you can evaluate options, small or large. I've been challenged by leaders in the past to provide unconstrained situations. Now that may seem unrealistic, but it certainly caused us to think out of the box. Another good point to make about capturing the vision is that so many technical people are continually in the process of developing code. The future we talk about can and should be used to guide the development work that is being done today. I want to emphasize that the vision is about capabilities, not about the solutions. Focus on the business needs, the importance of the needs, and prioritize them. Here's a note. Expect churn. Have an appetite for questions. Have an appetite for challenging the status quo. This is not fun work for people that want short answers to complicated problems. Before we go any further, I want to take time out for a story. Because what's coming next will be the type of work that turns vision into results that we will have to live with. Well, so far, we've been planning and dreaming and we're working hard, but we've yet to make any decisions that have long-term consequences. Let me tell you a story about a situation I had about 20 years ago. I was managing a large mechanized facility that needed to make an improvement in throughput. And we had to have ideas, and we went through the whole system from end to end. We had small ideas and large ideas, and we had a few ideas that were radically different than what we had been doing. And we were going to spend a great deal of money, and the stakes were high, and the business interruption risks were something that we couldn't accept. So I was showing these ideas to my boss, and we went through them one by one, and I explained them. And he listened to me and hadn't said a whole lot. And then without saying another word, he got up from his chair, went over to the part of my office where I kept my reports, and he picked up a very large pile of the old green bar paper, carried it back to my desk. It hit my desk with a thud. And he looked at me over his glasses and said, "Don't guess." You see, he knew from experience that the devil's in the details. And if you're going to accept liability for system changes and system design, you had better do your homework. Now, this is the part of the projects that may keep you up at night. You're going to be explaining yourself to a lot of folks. The stakes are high and you live with these decisions for a very long time. It's important during these times that you know who to call and that you trust those folks and they have a good batting average. The second step is to take the objectives that you've established in the vision setting and to create business requirements. What are we driving at? What is your current state? What is your future state? Remember, this is in terms of results, not solutions yet. It will be important to be prepared to describe what capabilities that you are asking for. The solutions engineers and operations advisors can guide you through that process. But the primary takeaway from this step is to be prepared to know what is required by the business, to be able to describe the capabilities that you are asking for, and be prepared to provide data. You will be asked for a lot of data, and you'll be asked to make projections for the future. Now, this slide only takes a few seconds to show, but this is an intentional and painstaking exercise of establishing the information that will be passed along to developing solutions. After you have established requirements and you've collected data, you'll be ready for engineering studies, solutions development, and ultimately solution selection. The number one rule of solutions development is do not start with a preconceived notion of what the solution will be. I know you've seen things and I know you've heard what others are doing, but your solutions may be different because your business may be different. Remember that we're going to be data-driven and we're going to focus on targeted solutions that fit specific applications. I don't believe that one size fits all. And if you try to fit everything into one box, you'll see how that affects the result. It can impact size and cost, and the models that will be built for you identify the proper solution for the application that will meet your specific business requirements. Identify the possible solutions and create a list of options, the capabilities and the rough costs. The bottom line here is don't fall in love with a solution before you analyze the data against the models that you build. As far as grading and selection, you've researched the concepts so that you can understand the various options. You'll also understand the rough order of magnitude. You can place options on a grading scale and perform a weighted analysis. Can it be expanded as you need more capacity? If so, how would phasing be possible while you're working in a facility? How is labor affected by the design or the expansion? Some valuable experiences that would be helpful while you're in this process is virtual reality, because not everyone can conceptualize something from a flat set of drawings. Virtual reality can prove a look and feel that is helpful. Data modeling is also important. It validates the assumptions. And I'm not talking about animations or simulations that don't provide data modeling. You should also schedule site visits where the solutions are successfully in use. Now, this process can take months or even years depending on the complexity of your project. So keep in mind that your primary objective during this stage is to dive deep into the data analysis, become educated and familiar enough to make informed choices. Remember again that you'll live with these choices for a very long time. Scope documents are specific to a particular project or initiative, so I won't be spending much time on this element. The point that I'd like to make about this is what we have accomplished in the first three principles are to create a vision that comes from a bigger picture and ties to work that we do to create a future state. I guess what I'm saying is that everything should be connected to a master plan so that disparate projects do not produce rework or worse, throwaway work. The best training that I've received that illustrates the importance of staying connected between disciplines has been Agile development. Now, I can't teach Agile development, but I have participated and I'm a believer. The work that I've described here will come from a solid planning effort so that you can better explain your path forward to the people that manage your company's Agile processes. So if you have a vision of where you want to be in the future, through proper planning and informed decision-making and a solid development process, you can become Agile. So that may help turn your projects into a journey rather than a leap. So that brings us to this: planning well ahead, providing visibility to your organization, doing research and development, and working with a good solution provider is essential. It's the keys. But there is a fifth element, and that's essential to this success: your participation as an owner. And by owner, I'm speaking about solid representation from your entire organization. It starts with the business owner and sponsor and the leadership that they provide. And based on the type of project, you should be bringing in the appropriate subject matter experts from your organization: mechanical, electrical, business process, inventory control, supervision, managers, networking, and IT, and others possibly depending on the scope. Their involvement is essential and can avoid misses which generate change orders and also avoid misunderstandings. It's not uncommon to find out that how we think the work is being done is not always the same as it happens in reality. People adapt and improvise over time, and processes can drift off from what we believe them to be. Remember that no one knows your business as well as you and your team do. It's the ownership that keeps everyone rowing in the right direction. In conclusion, there is an awful lot to consider when it comes to deciding what to do in the area of innovation. It's not uncommon to wonder if your solution providers are truly aware of your needs, understand your operation, or even if they are truly objective. The partners you choose should feel more like trusted advisors that specialize in effective, targeted solutions that fit your appetite for change as well as capital. People like me are finding a home in the design and integration area because we have worked in the industry and we know how it feels to walk in your shoes. It never hurts to talk, and you can contact me using the email address shown. I can also be found on LinkedIn, or feel free to hit our website. Thank you.